why the new 37mm Citizen Tsuyosa is the best affordable automatic watch. In this video, I'm going to tell you why based on my ownership experience of this watch for the past 1 month and using this as my daily watch. Before we go into wrist time with the new 37mm Tsuyosa, let's go back to where it all began. The name Tsuyosa means strength in Japanese, and fittingly, this watch line traces its roots to Citizen's late 1990s NH299 series. That original was iconic for being one of the rare affordable automatics built in stainless steel at a time when many entry-level models used brass. With elegant brushing on the case and mirror-polished links on the bracelet, the NH299 stood out for its refined finishing in its price class. Fast forward to 2022, Citizen relaunched the Tsuyosa collection, not a rebrand, but a spiritual rebirth of that same ethos. It debuted in a 40mm integrated bracelet format, powered by Citizen's in-house Miyota 8210 automatic movement, an accessible mechanical workhorse priced under $500. The look and feel reminded many watch lovers of playful vintage sports watches, from bold dial colors to a 4 o'clock crown, yet it instantly became recognized for its balance of design, mechanics, and price. The 40mm Tsuyosa line today is available in plenty of dial colors, and even variations which include a small seconds subdial, and this seemed to be the perfect entry-level affordable watch for any enthusiast, except for a small problem. The sizing. With an integrated bracelet and a 40mm dial, this watch required you to have a slightly above average wrist if you wanted a neat look. On my average 6-inch wrist, the 40mm Tsuyosa would have driven me crazy with its size and the way it fit. Thankfully, Citizen listened closely and unveiled the first ever 37mm Tsuyosa earlier this year. With a slimmer 11.5mm thickness, a 40mm lug-to-lug footprint, and refined dial shades, ice blue, pastel pink, and dark green, it finally clamped down on the trend toward smaller, more wearable sizes. All the hallmark specs remained: sapphire crystal, date magnifier, 50-meter water resistance, and that reliable 8210 caliber with roughly 42 hours of power reserve. So how good is the 37mm Tsuyosa, and is the internet being a little bit harsh towards it? Let's find out. As for my buying experience, I already have a video of that on my channel and how I purchased it in Singapore for a steep discount. I'll leave a link to that video in the description below for you to check out. But in summary, I paid around $290 for this ice blue or Tiffany blue 37mm Citizen Tsuyosa. Here's a quick graphic of the spec sheet. Feel free to pause the video if you want to take a longer look. Now, coming to my experience of the watch, let me first start by addressing the downsides of this watch, or what I read or what I came across as downsides of this watch as I saw on other people's YouTube reviews of the watch, and share my experience with those aspects. Number 1, the watch wears chunky. Now, I don't know what the definition of chunky is. I think it varies from user to user, but on my relatively smallish 6-odd inch wrist, I don't at all think that this watch looks or feels chunky. I think it's right sized. Yeah, so the chunky is, I think, varies from people to people. I love the size. I wish more watches would be of this size. That's number 1. Number 2, it uses a very average entry-level movement. I think this is the second most popular criticism that I saw on the 37mm Tsuyosa and the 40mm Tsuyosa as well. I think we need to put things in perspective when it comes to the movement. We are talking about a watch which costs less than $300 with stainless steel and an integrated bracelet. And at the end of the day, it is a reliable, well-finished, high-quality watch. So when all these things are put together and the price point is still something where a large majority of the people can afford the watch, I don't think the movement or the entry-level nature of the movement has too much of a role to play, because it is an automatic movement. You do get a date feature as well, and for $300 I'm perfectly happy with the Miyota 8210 movement with 40 odd hours of power reserve. More on that later, but I don't at all think that this is an average movement for the price that we pay. I'm happy with it. In fact, I'm going to go one step further and say that the Miyota 8210 movement is meant exactly for watches like the Tsuyosa, which maintain the affordability at the $300 odd price bracket. So I think the movement is meant exactly for this watch. Number 3, this watch does not have an original design. Again, I think I started this video by talking about the original 1990 Citizen NH299 series, and yes, for reference, the Tissot PRX, the original, came out somewhere in the 70s. Does that mean that Citizen and Tissot should not revive popular nameplates like Tsuyosa or PRX? Absolutely not. In fact, I think that these watchmakers are doing a brilliant job reviving their old designs, bringing it out in 2025 for the person living in 2025 with, like, someone like me, a slightly smaller wrist. But it's great to see these watchmakers doing it, and it's even better to see them doing it at affordable price points. Even the PRX, for that matter, at the end of the day is a $1,000 watch, though it's slightly pricier compared to the Citizen. But I think who wins at the end of the day is us, the consumers and watch enthusiasts, because now we get access to largely well-finished watches from established watchmakers at good entry-level price points. And I'm not complaining about this design at all. I love the design. I love the slightly vintage look. I love the stainless steel. So if it is a revival of an old design, please bring it on. I think a lot of other watch enthusiasts would share this viewpoint as well. Number 4, positioning the crown at 4 o'clock makes operation difficult. This crown, right now I'm winding the crown. I'll agree that it's not as easy winding a crown at 4 o'clock as it is at the traditional 3 o'clock position, but I think this is the price that you do have to pay slightly for the design of the watch. And at the end of the day, if operation of the crown is really that difficult, you just take your watch off the wrist. Perfectly easy to operate the crown at 4 o'clock as long as you take the watch off the wrist. If the watch is on your wrist, little bit of an inconvenience, but I wouldn't call it a downside. I think that's a design element of the watch, and I'm glad that Citizen went with this design element, because can you imagine a 3 o'clock crown on this design might just look too much like, you know, a run-of-the-mill kind of a watch. I love it. It's not a downside. Number 5, and this one's a big one. The watch doesn't look great or feel great when viewed up close. Let me tell you, I've been using this watch for the last 1 month, which means that I've been in my honeymoon phase with this watch. I've been obsessing over it, looking over it very closely at all possible angles, as close as, you know, my eye can get to it. Sometimes I keep it far away just to see how the sunlight kind of bounces off the bracelet or the dial. And it looks great. It feels even better, and this is one of the best designs that I have ever come across ever since the first Tsuyosa was launched. But even so, I'm going to talk about the 37mm Tsuyosa as being slightly better off on the design, because I just think that this color with this design, Citizen really knocked it off the park, and the quality is exceptional. So again, I don't know what people's definition of low quality watches or high quality watches in that case would be. If you called Tsuyosa as, you know, what was it exactly? It doesn't look great or feel great. All right, let's come to number 6. The President style bracelet feels cheap. Now this one's a big one as well, and personally it is something that I wanted to definitely experience for myself over the long run before I even started making a video about my thoughts on the watch, which is why I waited for a full month before I started making this video. Over the course of this month, I definitely thought that maybe the bracelet might get to me at some point of time, but I've used this watch in varied temperatures and almost everywhere. It's burning hot outside in Tokyo, by the way. It's nearly 38, 39 degrees, as it was in Singapore, very, very hot and humid days. At the same time, the room and the aircraft and the simulators that we operate is freezing cold. We keep the temperature somewhere in the 18, 19 region, which is freezing cold for me, as you can see. And not once has this bracelet felt like the temperatures outside is having an impact on the bracelet, which is, you know, making the watch wearing experience very annoying. Never has that happened. And the second thing for me, because I have, you know, a slightly hairy wrist, I thought that I'm going to have multiple instances of this bracelet catching on my hair and, you know, having that feeling of, I just had a hair pull. I wear this watch almost 6 to 8 hours daily. I go to the supermarket with it. I walk a lot with this watch. And again, maybe there's one instance of my hair getting pulled every 2 or 3 days. And, you know, that's just like an isolated incident. So I'm actually pleasantly surprised. I was not expecting the bracelet to be of such high quality for a watch at this price point. And yep, like I said, this feels like a $3,000, $4,000 watch, especially the bracelet. I love the President style bracelet, and I think that is one of the most defining features of the Tsuyosa, especially when you compare it to the Tissot PRX. More on that later as well. And believe it or not, just as I was reading off the notes that I had summarized on my phone with all the negative aspects of this watch, I see an article that there's a new 37mm Citizen Tsuyosa Black Fume Limited Edition. Sorry if you can see that. Yeah. Looks pretty good too, especially the color. Wow, that's a very nice color. It's called the Black Fume Limited Edition Tsuyosa, and it's just come out. Limited to 8,000 pieces is what this article says. I probably need to do more research about this watch before I even put out a video, but this just came out. So if you are thinking of looking at the 37mm Tsuyosa, that's one additional color for you. Keep that in mind. But coming back to the negative aspects of this watch, I think I am going to say that there are a lot of videos and a lot of maybe internet sections which criticize this watch, I believe, in an unfair manner, and I can't help but think that those hot negative takes on a watch like the Tsuyosa exist purely for the reason of maybe clickbait or just to, you know, be different from the crowd. That's all I can imagine, because I'm buyer of this watch, owner of this watch, I love it. I think that the negative criticism is very unfounded. Now, having said all that, I do think there are two aspects of the Citizen Tsuyosa which could be slightly improved upon, but absolutely in no way are these deal breakers, I would say, for this watch. Here are those two aspects. The first is the loom. The loom is good, but I think it could be better. It doesn't last very long, and the video that you're about to see, I placed the watch under a bright light for maybe half an hour and then switched off all the lights. That's the video that you're going to see right now. Tell me what you think. while the lume is pretty good, it doesn't last maybe more than 10 odd minutes. So maybe that's something that could be improved upon. But like I said, it's not a deal breaker. The second aspect in my experience is the power reserve. Now, Citizen quotes this watch as having 42 hours of power reserve. In my experience, and I've been wearing this watch, 6 to 8 hours at least on a daily basis. I walk a lot with this watch, which, what I'm trying to say is this watch is used, it's not just sitting right there. And I've never seen 42 hours of power reserve, on this watch. The maximum I get is somewhere in the region of 36-ish hours. And I do find that I need to wind this watch on a daily basis if I want it to, not stop. 42 hours feels like a stretch, and 36-ish is what I've managed at most. So again, it's not a deal breaker, but I feel that this has to be spoken about since it's a manufacturer claim and I have not been experiencing that. So again, not a deal breaker, could be better. Quickly talking about the Tsuyosa's dial and quality, what you get is a well-finished dial which will put several watches at higher price points to shame. Legibility is excellent, and the quality of the sapphire glass feels like it will withstand a few hits. Citizen has added a cyclops for the date window, and sometimes for reading a double-digit date like 22 or 25, you might have to give the watch a closer peek, as legibility for the larger sized dates aren't the best. Again, not a deal breaker, especially at this price, but something I am experiencing which I wanted to share. That being said, the aesthetic of this watch is its strong point, especially with the President style bracelet. My watch in ice blue is my favorite summer watch. It makes me very happy when I wear it each time, and at the end of the day, that's what a good watch should do. Like I said, I would give Citizen 10 out of 10 for the choice of color, design, and bracelet on the Tsuyosa while maintaining an affordable price. Now, lastly, coming to the Tissot PRX versus the Citizen Tsuyosa debate. Look, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. At the end of the day, I think it boils down to the individual. But I will say that the Tissot PRX is available as a quartz and as an automatic. And comparing the PRX automatic with the Tsuyosa automatic, what you first need to realize is it's a different kind of bracelet on both watches, though the style of the integrated bracelet remains the same. I also think that the dial is inherently different. Citizen has opted for a more clean, single solid color, whereas the PRX has completely different dial textures. So putting these aside, then comes the price. Comparing automatic to automatic, the PRX is priced approximately 2.5 times what the Citizen Tsuyosa automatic. There is only an automatic, but the PRX costs about 2.5 times what the Tsuyosa costs. Personally, again, I feel like a justifiable or a quantifiable something that I would feel comfortable paying would be maybe 1.5 times of the Tsuyosa is where I think the PRX would make for a really good deal. But then again, if you really love a watch, I don't think price is going to matter too much, whether it's 1.5 times or 2.5 times of what the other watch costs. So please don't listen to my opinion or my thoughts on this. If you really like the PRX, don't let the price hold you back. It's still a great watch, a little bit of a different design, but if that is what you definitely like, I think there's no question about it. It's the PRX that you should get. But if you are looking for something while you're being value conscious, you want the President style bracelet, like I said, I think in that debate between the PRX and the Tsuyosa is a no-brainer. And let's not forget, I think $300 seems like the fair value what Citizen is asking for a watch of this quality. That wraps up my thoughts and experience with the 37mm Tsuyosa. As you can tell, I'm a very happy watch owner of the Tsuyosa. I'll definitely be recommending this watch to anybody who asks me for an affordable entry-level watch. And let me know what you think. Are you an owner of the Tsuyosa? Are you also experiencing the 42 hours as being slightly on the ambitious scale of what Citizen is quoting? Or are you planning on getting the Tsuyosa? If so, which dial, which color, or between the PRX and the Tsuyosa, do you strongly have an opinion about which watch is better? Please do let me know in the comments below. As always, it'll be great to have you as a subscriber. Thank you so much for watching again. Take care.